Good morning, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. Oh boy, did we have an early morning this morning. I think it was about 6 o'clock, and if you've been following the story of the young girl who is the daughter of what we've been calling the single mother, living up in the mountains, and there was some problem with the uncle, who is actually quite, I always think of an uncle as being so much older than me. Well, now I'm at this age, that's a little bit difficult, you know, because probably the only uncle that I know that's older than me is in the grave. Anyway, this young man is the uncle in the picture. Nizel Maria is the young girl. Actually, she's a very young girl. You know that some kids mature more quickly than others, and this is well, it's what I can consider a little girl. She's quite childlike. She's actually 14 years old, very bright. She's a beautiful kid, and there was some issue with the man, was never really clarified, but anyway, there was a problem, and he struck the child a couple of times on a couple of different occasions, which for me was totally out of order. So anyway, we had a meeting which we were able to attend as guests, but we don't really have, a foreigner doesn't have any say, but yet he will be listened to. So what's happened is that the single mother has left home, taken her children with her, and she went over to Josephine, who is Petty's family, Josephine. So they went over there, and we went, and they were there really seeking sanctuary, as you might have said in the old days. They were there seeking protection, and it was decided that there was a risk that something further would develop if they were not gotten away. Well, the solution came about when Lovely May, who is now awaiting her fiancé coming from Antarctica, sounds bizarre, but Dwayne is her fiancé, and he is at work in Antarctica, the strangest, most adventurous job ever. So he doesn't come home for quite a time. They took the advantage, while they had it, of getting a rather beautiful townhouse. It's a townhouse, not an apartment. It's a townhouse, and they took that. So Lovely May is there at this townhouse, and they've made it into a beautiful home. So Lovely May extended the hospitality to Nizel of living with her as a way of getting her away from what is potentially, or what we thought was potentially, a difficult situation. Well, at the barangay meeting, won't bore you with the whole of that, but what was agreed to was that the uncle would certainly never again even think of striking Nizel, and that he would not actually try to get close to her. Difficult situation. It's very delicate, complicated, but he signed an agreement saying that he would not do that, and that he would never ever touch her again. And it was made very clear to him that if ever he did anything like that, or anything worse, the police would be calling on him, not anybody from the barangay. This was a barangay level meeting. The barangay was there, the captain was there, adjudicated on that. A paper was drawn up, and he signed that, and he expressed his sorrow, his apologies at what had happened. Well, this morning he arrived, and he arrived with in the company of Beth's uncle and Josephine, and after a great deal of talk, it was realized that actually Beth and I have absolutely no power of anything but to state our opinion. But because we had stated it rather strongly at the meeting, he came and tried to get our agreement because he didn't feel that the mother or the daughter, Nizelle, would listen to him. And he was experiencing some stress from what he said. I'm just offering what he said, that his mother was the grandmother of the girl, is now missing the child and experiencing some stress and upset, and is not doing too well. Take that as you wish. Now, the way, if I may suggest, the way to listen to this, to view in your mind what happened this morning, is to view it as a window into looking at how another culture would deal with things. And that other culture, the Filipino culture, is to try to do things without having it heavily confrontational. Beth did most of the listening, with occasionally telling me what was happening, and then of course I would come in as a foreigner and state things, even though I am not, generally speaking, confrontational. I try to make it clear to him that all of this has happened because of him. It's because of what he did. And while he may well, see, he's there and he's expressing his apologies. I'm very sorry, so we can all be a family again together, you know. Now that I've said I'm sorry and I've asked for forgiveness, we can all just go back to the way that it was. And the answer to that is no. And I try to express that to him and convey that to him, that if a man goes out and robs a bank and gets caught, when the police arrive and they're putting the cuffs on him, can he say, "Oh, look, officer, we can handle this right here and now. I'm sorry I did it. Can you forgive me?" And the officer would say, "Yes, let's continue this conversation down at the station." That's what would happen. Try to convey that to him, that the next step for him, if it's out of line, he's going to be talking to the police. He's going to be talking to the police on the basis, looking at it ahead of time, if the police are there at any point, he's going to be talking to them on the basis that he's done something 3 times. So, on realizing, looks like a brownout. Yep, it's a brownout. So you'll just have to look at me in semi-darkness, which won't be a bad thing if you think about it.
Yeah, if it's brown out, you're gonna be more handsome. So that's fine.
I'll be able to
because
hide
then,
more.
You know, you can hide your wrinkles there, darling.
Honey, it'll take more than a brownout to hide my wrinkles. Okay, they're like the Grand Canyon. So look. So what's happened, I'll get you to the bottom line. I'm always accused of taking so long to get to the bottom line. It's like being at the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
What did he say about that, huh? You're welding?
Yeah, my what?
You are welding?
I'm welding?
You're long welding?
I have no idea. Anyway, I'm in danger of being hijacked here, or video jacked. We had to admit that we have no say in this other than to advise. The final decision must come from the mother. Now the girl is very happy to be with lovely May, and of course, you know, let's say it as it really is. Who wouldn't be? She's come from a very humble little home in the mountains, one that we built and one without any frills. And she's now living in a beautiful townhouse in Taliban. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it? You think about it. So we've had to say that what we would recommend is that he tread very, very carefully from now on, because he's on the blotter, so to speak, as being a 2-time loser, is how I would say it, coming from California. And that it's going to have to be down to the mother. I have very little faith in that, because I know that the pressures on the mother will be coming from her mother, who will be telling her, mother to daughter, what to do. So how's that going to go? Well, we really don't know. We can only keep you up to date on something that is a rather interesting situation, because let's face it, if it's a child at risk, then it can't be taken lightly, can we? So let's hope for Nicelle that everything is good. I did come down heavily on that uncle, as I think I did at the meeting, where I made it clear that actually we could all be talking to police officers at that point instead of talking to a barangay captain. And so I don't know how much of what I said was understood, but the lady that was leading the meeting, who seemed to be in charge, seemed to be very good in English. So I'm hopeful that I've learned to step my English down sufficiently to allow for a not fully fluent English speaker that I'm speaking to. Let's hope for the best. I know this is not an ideal situation, and so I'm expecting that there will be irate comments. Don't expect me to try to respond to them in any what you might consider a constructive way. We've done what we can in the circumstances, and we will see how this thing unfolds. Hopefully not badly. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. We're doing what we can with what we have. Bye for now.